What's going on, everyone? It's time for another thriller film review. Today we're going to talk about a film called The Thinning, or some people call it The Thinning. Anyways, it was released October 12th, 2016. It was directed by Michael J. Gallagher, who did films like Smiley, Funny Story, The Thing, New, The Thinning New World Order. That's the sequel to this. And Internet Famous. So, well, this is actually an odd type of film to be reviewing because, well, it was released by YouTube Red, which was their attempt at their version of Netflix and making their own content, and it failed horribly, and I can see why. So, The Thinning. First off, the story is about uh, the government. Well, the world is actually coming to is too populated, so they have to start thinning out the population. Now, um, how did they, what did they come up with to do this? Well, easy. The kids take an aptitude test, and the people who fail get euthanized. Sounds good, right? Wow, this movie's really tame, though. So, yeah, let's talk about it. Anyways, yeah, so they keep, yeah, euthanize. So as the story follows Logan Paul, who's playing some like 20-year-old or teenager, and his girlfriend actually gets executed. So over the next year, he sort of procrastinates about it, and then he decides he's going to purposely fail and so he can be with her and stuff because they don't really know where they go or anything. So he does, but then his father, who's actually a political figure, actually changes it to make him pass and make someone else fail instead. And so they cross paths and they end up working together to try to escape uh, this school that's basically built like a prison, and yeah, try to fight back against the harm that might come to them. Overall, this film has an interesting concept. It does seem a lot like Hunger Games, maybe a little more uh, tame and a little more like chill for the younger audiences, which it was. There's not much really to this movie. The acting is not that great, and the cinematography is pretty bland. It's pretty dull. It looks like a YouTube video, to be honest. And yeah, and yeah, overall, the whole setting of the place and everything was just so dull in this. It was so, they could have done so much with it, but no. And then they had these like really ridiculous looking security guards that look like cheap Jason mask painted black with all black on it, and then they had your typical like stormtrooper sounding voice coming through. And yeah, there's not much to this movie. It's if you don't care, like they don't, the characters aren't in depth or anything, so you don't get to feel for them when stuff happens. And yeah, and everything just slowly goes. It's very predictable. It's very stale, and overall, it was just a dull movie, and it wasn't that interesting. There wasn't anything gripping about it or anything like that. Now, of the interesting synopsis of kids being executed and stuff, which is a cliche, kind of like a touchy subject. They really tamed it down, and it became a pretty big bore. So overall, I'm going to give The Thinning a 1.5. It doesn't really, it has a cool concept and everything, but overall, the rest of it was just bland, dull, and didn't look like they really put very much effort into it. So yeah, but if you want to check it out, I'm not sure where it's streaming, so I will at least link the trailer down below so you check that out. Also, make sure you check out my Instagram that's linked down below. That's where I post clips of films I'm going to review in the future on my story. I just put the film title in there and some fun facts in there as well. Also, my Letterbox down below at Derek P Reviews. That's where I post my first star rating after watching the films, and my Twitter's down below at reviews_Derek. So follow me on those platforms. Stay looped with this channel. Like this video, share it so more people aware of it. Comment your opinions of the film down below if you have any, and if you have any films or film franchise in any genre and on any streaming service that you want to hear my opinions on in the future, comment those down below too. I'll try my best to get to them as soon as I can, and if I can find them. And let me know if you want me to do the sequel as well. But yeah, make sure you subscribe. Hopefully we'll find something weird, obscure, and all-day pro I never thought checking out, because I know you hear my opinions on popular films, so come on classic films and reviews on other things as well. And don't forget to ring that bell because we're going to continue on the Planet of the Apes franchise with War for the Planet of the Apes in the next review. So make sure you tune in for that. And yeah, watch out for all those crazy politicians wanting to kill kids. And I guess I'll see you all in the next one. So until then, cheers.